Eyo, heyo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu The Stanley Parable. Im letzten Part, ich habe keine Ahnung, was hier passiert. Ich kann nicht mal rekonstruieren, was hier passiert. Wir machen einfach weiter. Alter, also ganz ehrlich.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Gehen wir zum... Wo lang gehen wir? Wir halten uns einfach mal nicht an die Regeln.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Quatsch. Wir werden bestimmt nicht sterben, wenn wir hier durchgehen. Ist uns...
Behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Ja, wir können definitiv noch zurück.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja, Mensch. Wir sterben doch bestimmt nicht. Hä? Was? Siehst du, wir sterben nicht, mein lieber Zuschauer.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Ich hock mich mal hin.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ja, man merkt. The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Okay. Was? The Office. Was? Was passiert denn hier? Button Sounds. Okay. Die machen natürlich nichts. Und hier sind die Credits einfach mal. Ich glaube nicht, dass das Spiel schon zu Ende ist. Definitiv nicht. Was zur Hölle? Gehen wir nach links oder nach rechts? Ich nehme einfach mal die rechte Richtung. Und noch einmal. Und bin wirklich gespannt. Okay. Hä? Hä? Das war's doch jetzt aber noch nicht. Das war's jetzt definitiv noch nicht. Wehe. Freedom Ending. Das gibt's auch? Hä? Okay. Okay. Was? Ich bin gerade wirklich verwirrt. The game is now paused. Begin the game again. Ja. Was? Hä? Nichts passiert. Hä? Dann gehen wir jetzt mal hier lang. Hier ist nix. Game Design Mockup. Exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Aus.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Endlich. Oder? Das war's noch nicht. Scheint es doch gewesen zu sein. Dann gehen wir mal der Story ganz nach. Jetzt fangen wir ja von hier schon an.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Jo, wir machen jetzt mal wirklich alles richtig, denke ich mal. Bis wir weiterkommen.
Not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ich bin gerade wirklich verwirrt von dem Spiel. Ich meine, das ist natürlich beabsichtigt,
Stepping into
aber...
his manager's
Was?
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Okay, ich sollte es also nicht übertreiben mit
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Mensch. Gut. Dann gehen wir jetzt mal den richtigen Weg. Immer diese laute Soundkulisse, ganz ehrlich, das tut irgendwann in den Ohren weh und man erschreckt sich und. Das könnte man noch ändern, aber sonst, weiß nicht. Lass mich mal weiter. Und vor allem mal den richtigen Weg
straight
nehmen.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Und jetzt sind wir wahrscheinlich wieder gleich bei diesem riesen Bildschirm-Dings.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ich bin mir nicht sicher. Entschuldigung. Ich bin jetzt echt gespannt. Hier die Kameras
Now
werden...
the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay. Und wie man sieht, ist da wirklich niemand. Aufzug.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No.
2 Leute sind
He
gefeuert.
refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It
Pirate.
was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Okay.
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Na los. Machen wir diese Maschine kaputt. Diese Maschine kaputt. System Power. On oder off? Lassen wir sie leben.
You didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Alter. Das ist gerade echt krass. Auch die Cutscene insgesamt und alles. Was? Alter. Ich komme auch langsam dahinter, also...
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Jetzt habe ich vergessen, was ich sagen wollte, aber...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Gut, dann machen wir jetzt doch mal erstmal alles richtig. Ich bin gerade vollkommen verwirrt.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping him coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Jetzt habe ich mich auch noch vertippt. Ich brauche ein Fadenkreuz. Gib mir ein Fadenkreuz. Ich sagte, gib mir ein Fadenkreuz. Nochmal. Hä? Gut, ich tippe jetzt einfach mal darauf, damit ich weiß. Du willst mich verarschen, oder? Der will mich verarschen. Okay, es ist schon offen, aber trotzdem, der wollte mich jetzt verarschen. Ich hatte an die Stelle, wo das Fadenkreuz war, hatte ich jetzt meinen Finger gehalten und die richtige Stelle so gesucht und was? Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ja. Auf jeden Fall. Hä? Was zur Hölle? Spiel!
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Spiel, what are you doing? Spiel, stop!
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ich verspiel das ständig.
Control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert.
Jetzt ist alles aus, okay. Und nun?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
No.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Kann ich mich jetzt dagegen entscheiden? Nee. Okay.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Wir wachen gleich wieder auf. Oder? Ja.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Ich bin gerade wirklich verwirrt.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nee.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nee, wir gehen jetzt hier lang.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Das sind verschiedene Räume. Welchen nehmen wir? Welchen nehmen wir? Blau.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Ich kann da nicht durch, okay. Gehen wir jetzt erstmal hier durch.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. Of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Alter! Dein Ernst! Dein Ernst, Alter! Verbrenne! Schade, ich dachte schon. Verbrenne.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Wo denn?
This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off... Yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Gut. hier einfach mal in Minecraft. Oh, wie geil. Ich meine, hier tränt schon. Alles klar. Also wir sehen uns dann im nächsten Part, wenn es wieder heißt Minecraft. The Minecraft. Ich sage einfach mal The Steve Parable, ne? Aber die Musik ist schön. Also, wir sehen uns dann, wie gesagt, im nächsten Part. Also bis dahin. Ciao.